All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. We look at SPY here on the weekend. Was a clear downtrend, breaking back and getting continuation towards that downside push, coming back into some major levels as well. But I think a lot of the answers are really here inside the Nasdaq and what happened here. More selling occurred here on tech, really compared to anything else, and semiconductors came back down to your 19K level and ended up finding buyers. This is your previous SR flip, giving you a better visual, something like the daily or the weekly even. You can see this is the level that we pushed into, where we mounted and then eventually pushed back into all-time highs and ran almost 10,000 points or 1,000 points from there. So really important to understand how we moved and what's been moving in the market right now. So far in the week, I wouldn't say that Nasdaq has confirmed that it's bullish or that buying has, occurred once again or dominated in the week. All I can say right now is you're bouncing where you need to bounce. That is it. It's just like if we're trading to the upside though, right? So if I'm trading to the upside and I'm looking at Nasdaq pushing up and my target is locally, 22, 21.9. That's not saying that I don't think we can go higher than that, but that's saying that I expect sellers to step in at that point to get some resistance, and then we'll come back to that trade to see how it's performing. We break back above. We want to obviously follow that trend and how it's trading there. That's the biggest thing I can say to anyone right now, is that long term, I still think the Nasdaq is bullish, but in the short, medium term with this pullback, I don't want to say that it's over just yet. The other thing that comes into play here is what's happening as far as earnings, because this week is going to get pretty important, and I would say it's your biggest week so far on the face of earnings, right? So this week, Monday, not that important. You have some earnings here, but not the biggest ones in my opinion. Tuesday, you have SoFi, you have AMD, Microsoft, PayPal, Starbucks, Pinterest. Again, those are your biggest names there. You have some big Dow names in there as well. But really, Microsoft is going to be the shape of how this week starts off and progresses, okay? I think it's your biggest earnings there. We'll come back to that. Wednesday, Boeing, another big Dow name. Then you have Meta, ARM, QCOM, Carvana, LRCX. Now, ARM, QCOM are really interesting. I would actually say, this is personal opinion, do what you want with this, I think ARM is going to tell us more about the shape of semiconductors than AMD will. Call me crazy, personal opinion. Thursday, in the week, very strong with Amazon, Apple, Intel, Coinbase, Square, all on one day. So as you can see, this week will be very, very important. Now, we look at economic data as well. You have payrolls, you have unemployment rate, you have non-farm payrolls. Yes, those are important, but I do think that earnings will take the chip here, personally, okay? I don't think we're going to have anything crazy unexpected with data. So again, I think earnings are the only wild card going in this week. And so far, earnings have been less than satisfactory when we look at the market. So what I'm looking at right now. Now, really quick though, I want to be very clear. To get bullish, to start really looking confident, or even get a little bit of confidence, you want to break back above your previous level here, 19.4, 19.4. That's what you want to see. We start to break, mount this level, you're pushing back into 19.7. Remember when I said you broke below 19.7, it's all hands on deck and you're going short. Well, you dropped almost 700 points in a matter of 24 hours. So again, understand your levels, have a plan, and know how you're going to be trading them. If we break below 18.9, it's going to get ugly. You're probably dropping down to 18.7 in a hurry. So make sure you're looking at that as well. So again, what I'm looking for there. Now, when we look at other areas of the market like S&P 500 and Dow, yeah, you're pulling back as well. But again, I think you've seen a little bit more conditioning on that side of the market with a little bit of a better hold, especially when we go into something like Dow. Dow ended the week pretty great, getting back above your major level of 40,700, which was your previous all-time high set back in April. So that's a really good sign to see there as well. Now, on top of that, even though Dow is going up, and this is for future and looking at data going down the line, oil continues to drop, breaking the 200 daily and the 200 weekly, dropping to the downside. This will be good overall for data going into September on the inflation reports. So you won't really get this added to your more recent data reports coming out, but more in like 40 days from now. So again, what I'm looking at there. The other part of this too is even though you're seeing this, you're seeing names like Exxon, energy names continue to rip back to the upside, which has proven to be one of the better hedges in broad market. Then we go into something like the dollar and understand what's happening here. And this is kind of what we talked about all week, is that the dollar, you were just trending on the dollar below your 200 SMA or at your 200 SMA, rejecting. So we need to get more information, see a drop here. But until that happens, kind of like up in the air right now with the dollar. And you go to the 30-year yield, you're rejecting at the 200 SMA. You want to see that drop back down as well. So again, you have markets pricing in a rate cut. You have yields kind of in the middle of no man's land. And you have the dollar waiting to break down as well. I would say all of those things are not confirmed yet either, which you might be like, Tyler, well, then what is confirmed? All that I can confirm and tell you right now is that earnings will dictate a 99% of the action on this week. Now, my favorite earnings here, I'm going to let you know right now, are going to be Microsoft. And I'm going to tell you, just looking at Microsoft, I just think it's the best looking one. I think that you're getting hit very hard on Microsoft as well, down almost 15% from highs. And I think this is a lot coming into play based on what happened from CrowdStrike and how they went down. It has nothing to do with Microsoft. So I think Microsoft's a clear winner here. They're also adding the ChatGPT search engine now, which will rival Google. Now, I don't know if that's going to be amazing. I don't know if that's going to be good, but it has to be good for Microsoft, or just even the outlook and what they'll say there. That's important to understand. And everyone forgets that their new partnership with Apple as well. Apple AI is from Microsoft and OpenAI. Think about that. ARM is probably my other second favorite here. Way more speculative. I just want to let you know that. AMD just doesn't really grow in revenue, so that's concerning. ARM is very new to the game. The last time they beat on revenue, they went berserk. So look at that. And then in the week, I love Apple. Don't get me wrong. But I think a dip on Apple is a buy. I'm hoping for a dip on Apple, or more of a dip. We'll have to wait and see. But it's kind of unlikely because you've dipped so much here right now. I do think their sales numbers are going to continue to improve. And I think that their outlook could be good, but they really don't really give forward guidance on Apple. Amazon, they're going to probably do very well because they just beat the record on Prime Day. Their sales continue to do amazing. I don't see how Amazon misses, right? It would be tough, but that's near the end of the week. So again, we're playing it by ear. I'm not trading any of these earnings. I'm going to let you know. I always wait till earnings perform and then trade based on the information that I received from the earnings call. Okay, so we went over a lot just now. Hopefully that broke everything down for the week. And that's kind of like the rundown for the coming week, okay? We're going to go into some equities and some stocks. Now, I like going back over the heat map and what we're looking at here, just to let you know, just so we can see kind of what happened throughout the day. And it's really interesting because I wish I could show you like a timeline of the heat map for a day, because a lot of these were red and then they turned green. So a few things that I'm looking at right now. Number one, semiconductors are getting torched. Semiconductors as a whole are getting decimated, destroyed. It's not a good look over there, okay, in semiconductor land. Okay, this could start shaping up near the end of the week. I'd be paying attention to that. However, I don't think AMD's earnings are going to save you. Personal opinion. So I'd be watching, and I'd be very on the fence on semiconductors unless I'm grabbing extreme time on those contracts. You saw software and tech start to bounce back. Consumer electronics. This was a good viewpoint as well. You even saw, Amazon, these other names. These are some of our more staple names when we look at the market. So really quickly going into these names, giving you a better visual, right? So you open up the day, basically Monday morning, with this like double bottom down here on Microsoft, and then you slowly just chip away back to the upside, despite Nasdaq being volatile and having some downside throughout the day. Google, kind of similar action. You open up on the downside and then slowly chip away back to the upside. Amazon was kind of even better. I don't know why CrowdStrike came up. There you go. But yeah, Amazon, you're going to enter that gap down. You start bouncing right back up. Good to see what you want to see. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm going long on these names, but you're seeing buyers show up again where you have to. Nasdaq hitting 19K, and ultimately that's what you want to see. It's consolidation here, at least until some data comes in to show you otherwise, or that buyers are back in control. The other thing that I'll say here too is that you end up breaking lows, but again, we look at Nasdaq volume, and guess what? Nasdaq volume just stalled on a Friday. Now, typically Fridays have been your best volume days in terms of continuation, meaning that if we're moving in a direction, Fridays usually always have the best and highest volume. So the fact that we slowed down here was very concerning. You go to Edgeful, you can actually see here as well. You can see based on the charts and based on statistics that guess what? Going into the final, the end of the week, data usually tops out and gets the best continuation of the volume, specifically on SPY and Qs. Understanding that's very important as well. Okay, so again, when we see that, it's interesting to see that sellers had the opportunity to take control, and then they didn't. And also too, guys, if you're interested, this is the broker that I use for all my trading stocks and options. The link is down below. I love the feels. They're actually making a new, easier to use platform as well. And they're always working on making the best options trading platform. That's specifically why I work with them. I literally was just on a call with them in their headquarters for like 2 hours this past week, working on the new platform that they're actually releasing right now. And then they also are going to have those cash accounts coming out very soon as well, which they've been pretty adamant on talking about as well. So again, for the day traders, everything like that, the link is down below. Make sure you check them out. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at there. Now I'm going to go over some options and things I'm looking at on this week, but I just want to be really clear. If you're trading something with earnings, I'm not holding anything through earnings. So like this week coming up, I'm going to tell you right now, I like trading AMD to the downside. If the market's pulling back, I think AMD downside makes the most sense. Now, am I going to hold an AMD position through earnings? No. Now, to the upside, I like Meta above 461. Am I going to hold Meta through earnings? No, not going to. Apple, Amazon, not really touching this right now, but just an example, food for thought. Okay. Now, as we look at what's happening here, AMD, I've been really clear about this. This is probably one of the worst looking charts that I've seen. I've been saying this in Discord for a few days, like AMD has been awful. Now, AMD, there was a few things we've been talking about, and I always tell you guys to be patient. So this is AMD on higher time frames going back to like 2023, right? May 2023. So you can see that AMD has held the 200 daily SMA over and over. Like a quick little wick, but you got back above, right? Holding, and you're kind of there, and then you dropped, right? Now, this is the first real drop that we've seen on AMD. And I want to give you just a for instance, right? Let's go to Tesla. Remember Tesla when we talked about when it broke, back in January, and how we said this was not a buying opportunity anymore, right? Well, that's exactly the same thing here with AMD. You broke, you dropped, you got below 200, you dropped, and then you just continue to drop. Okay, so you got to understand the action and what's really taking place here. Now, AMD, you look bad. I'm going to tell you right now. So I marked out this previous low you had back from May 2nd. Okay, 141. Go to the 1 hour. This thing is awful. Now, again, you have earnings, so you got to be careful. But again, you are just rejecting here non-stop. I mean, you just sat here for multiple hours, just rejecting at 141. Under 141, AMD looks treacherous. You have room down to 134, 133. I'd be watching it. Intraday day trading, really good setup. Looks interesting. On top of that, you have names like NVDA. And really quick, going into AMD's options as well. This is going to be tough. I don't usually recommend short dated contracts, but you have earnings this week, so you're protected on IV. I like trading shorter dated contracts on AMD. They've been moving good. Do your research, but like the 135s out of the money, go closer to end the money if you want to. They move decent, okay, because AMD is volatile down here. But NVIDIA, you got below 118 finally. You were holding the 118. Then you got below 116, 115. This is bad. You came down to your next level, 107, 108. You're also marked out by our Lux level there as well. Your next level after that, it's like 90. People are marking out $100. I'm like, no, it's like 97.5 for that gap fill down there, or the overall previous high touch. So that's what I'd be looking at there as well. NVIDIA does not look good either. But again, I'm not going short on NVIDIA. It's just a stronger name here, so it's no point for me to go short now. Other semiconductors that look strong, though. AVGO. AVGO is holding your key level, your previous high here, 151 locally. Holding that level. If I'm going long on anything on semis, I like AVGO back to the upside into 154, possibly 156. Pretty impressive name. You're currently stuck in a range between 154 and 151, but again, far stronger than some of these other semiconductors. What I'd be watching there as well. Okay, so very important that we're understanding the action that's taking place and everything that we're looking at here. ARM does have earnings this week. And I'm just going to tell you right now, if ARM has earnings and you get above 164, it's a long. The end. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm not going to go over the options because I will trade this after earnings, so the options prices will drastically change. I'd probably grab some time on those as well. A big topic has been Apple as well. So Apple, you guys know, I was looking for that 220 retest, and you ended up breaking right through it. And people are like, are you buying? Are you buying? Are you buying? I like Apple a lot long term. I love it. Okay, but you have earnings this week, so I have cause to sit back and wait to see how we react here. But also, too, what's happening here? You came back into our level, you're retesting and rejecting and making lower highs. So in my opinion, this is just not a great trade for me to enter at this moment. I have every reason to wait and get in this trade as we get back above it. If we get back above 220, we have plenty of room back to the upside, especially if earnings go well. I think I'll have multiple opportunities like I've had all year when it comes to these names. So it's all about patience here. One thing that I will highlight, and these will get cheaper after earnings, so I'm going to let you know that. Then everyone here knows the contracts that I was trading. It was the January 17th, the 220s. We got into these things around $11. They ran to over like $35, and they're getting cheaper once again. Okay, after earnings, they will drop in price once again. So I'd be watching these 220s for January. Personal opinion, do what you got to do. I do think they have a lot of upside room from earnings if they actually release some good news. So we'll see. Amazon, a lot of questions about Amazon. I'm not hyper focused here. I think their earnings will be good. You're above your level here at 180, but you got to get back above your 2021 highs now at 189. Below that, I just think it's like not a trade for me. Not going short, but I'm not going long. Hope that makes sense. Meta, a really beat up name, and I'm really interested in the names that are the most beat up right now, to be honest. To be totally honest with you guys, those are the names that get me the most excited, okay? Now, looking at Meta, there's two ways you're trading this. Above 461, 460, you're trading it back into 470, possibly breaking back into this illiquidity area. Again, if I mark this level out, over here, very illiquid. You can just see there's no liquidity basically from like 475. Gets minimal, and then it's really minimal all the way into 486. So again, very interesting. Would be watching that. But I like the names that are really beat up right now because I don't think a lot of them are justified. Like right now, Meta's getting beat up because of what happened to Google. So Google, if you don't know, their reported earnings and their ad revenue on YouTube was down, directly impacting Meta. So again, I kind of love Meta here. I think they have a good potential upside. I'm excited for that, and they're releasing all their new AI models as well. But I think Microsoft kind of just takes the chip a little bit more with how much they're getting beat up. So anyways, I like Meta here, but you got to wait for earnings. Be careful. Yeah, if you want to scalp it, you can scalp it into earnings. They still move really good. I'm going to let you know. Again, people like Charlie, you're trading weeklies. The week of earnings, I will trade weeklies because I'm protected via IV. I'm going to let you know that right now. But I'm looking at, these are expensive though. Yeah, these are expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So do what you gotta do. I know you guys are less interested in the expensive contracts. So very important to understand that one as well. AVGO went over it. Upstart's a smaller mid cap name I like the most. But Upstart, I'm waiting for it to get back above the 200 SMA. You get back above the 200 SMA, we can talk. Something that didn't go over a lot in today's video was the Russell, and the Russell did hold up. Like the Russell got a good bounce. Like the Russell looks really good. Okay, I didn't go over it enough in today's video. I'll probably go over it tomorrow maybe. But the Russell making higher lows looks really, really good. Trying to break out. Dow is very similar to what we saw before. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if these smaller mid caps start to get some love sooner than later. But you don't want to wait till you get back above 200. Remember, you got above 200 here. You went up like $5. So again, wait for those signs. Have a trade plan. It's the same thing over and over, guys. You don't rush into these names. You don't just start buying, YOLOing. You just got to be patient and wait for the setups to come to you. Because, again, they continue to come time and time again. Okay, Tesla, another big name here. So, Tesla, I've been tweeting a lot about this because you're stuck in a range now. It's pretty depressing. So, Tesla's probably my favorite downside trade other than AMD. But you got to get below 215. Below 215, you're pushing right down into 205. Now, you get above 226, you're pushing into 232, 231. So, there's two trades to trade there. Again, you're just waiting for a break and retest of either level. Until then, you're sitting on your hands and you can't do much. Trading in this range is brutal. Do what you got to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but that's what I'd be looking at there. Contracts for Tesla aren't that bad either. So I'm going to let you know that right now. It's about $5 out of the money has been very, very good to me. So other areas I'd be looking at there in the market broadly. So last thing I'll cover here too is going to be crypto. Bitcoin continues to get love. Again, you've been seeing all the presidential nominees talk a lot about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's back at your trend line, though. Back at your downward trend line. Be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm going to say here right now, guys. Don't jump the gun. Be careful. Let the action play out. You'll be able to get the breakout like we always have the opportunity to do. Just like I said down here, don't buy below 200. You got back above the 200. You can buy when you get back above the 200, right? You got above the 260K, you ended up running another $8,000, okay? I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter, so make sure you follow over there. The link is down below. Have a good one, traders. I will see you either tomorrow or Monday.